Snow fell heavily on Christmas Eve as Emma Stevens stood outside the cabin, questioning every decision that had led her here. She was a successful marketing executive, 33 years old, and currently freezing because her friends had dared her to go on the most ridiculous blind date of her life. The dare: show up unannounced at a stranger's door on Christmas Eve. It's romantic, her friend Jenna had insisted at their holiday party. Like a Christmas movie. His name is Lucas Bennett, he's a CEO, and he's spending Christmas alone in his family's cabin. I have the address. Just go knock on his door. That's insane, Emma had protested. That's the dare. You always say yes to dares. Are you backing out now? Pride and wine had made Emma agree. Now, standing in the snow outside a beautiful log cabin with glowing windows and a decorated tree visible inside, she was rethinking everything. Through the window, she could see a man sitting alone by the fireplace, staring into the flames. Even from outside, he looked handsome but deeply sad, exactly like someone who shouldn't be alone on Christmas. Before she could lose her nerve entirely, Emma knocked. The door opened. The man, Lucas presumably, looked confused, then concerned. Can I help you? Are you lost? Not lost, just... This is going to sound insane, but my friend dared me to come here. She said you're her cousin. You're spending Christmas alone and I should crash your evening. I'm Emma. This is weird. I'm leaving. She turned to go. Wait, Lucas said. Did Jenna put you up to this? Yes, I'm so sorry. This was stupid. She told me someone might come, Lucas admitted. I told her I didn't want company. But now you're here, in the snow, clearly freezing. Come inside. At least warm up before you drive back. Emma hesitated, then nodded. Inside was warm and smelled like pine and cinnamon. A little girl, maybe 5 years old, sat by the Christmas tree playing quietly with dolls. That's my daughter, Lily, Lucas said. Lily, we have a guest. This is Emma. Lily looked up with serious eyes. Did you come because Daddy's sad? Emma's heart clenched. I came because your cousin Jenna thought your daddy shouldn't be alone on Christmas. He's always sad at Christmas, Lily said matter-of-factly. Mommy died at Christmas 2 years ago. That's why we come to the cabin, so Daddy can be sad without people watching. Lucas looked mortified. Lily, sweetheart, you don't have to tell everyone. It's okay to be sad, Lily said seriously. That's what my therapist says. But maybe being sad alone is worse than being sad with a nice lady who came in the snow. Emma felt tears prick her eyes. She looked at Lucas. I'm so sorry. About your wife, and about intruding. Jenna didn't tell me the full story. She probably thought if she did, you wouldn't come, Lucas said. She's been worried about me. Says I'm isolating. She's not wrong, but I'm not ready for... He gestured vaguely. Whatever this is supposed to be. A dare, Emma said honestly. My friends dared me to show up here because I've been avoiding dating for 2 years after a bad breakup. They thought a grand gesture would force me out of my shell. It's ridiculous, and I'm sorry for imposing on your grief. Something shifted in Lucas's expression. You're avoiding dating too? Spectacularly. I throw myself into work and pretend I'm fine. Sound familiar? Very, Lucas admitted. Can she stay for cookies? Lily asked hopefully. I made them with Daddy. They're pretty good. Emma looked at Lucas, who shrugged with the beginnings of a smile. They actually are pretty good. If you want to stay for a bit, I promise not to make this more awkward than it already is. They sat by the fire eating cookies, Lily between them, chattering about Christmas and reindeer and her wish that Santa would bring her daddy someone to talk to because he was too quiet all the time. Out of the mouths of babes, Lucas murmured. Embarrassed. She's not wrong, though, Emma said gently. I'm too quiet all the time, too. My apartment is silent except for me. It's why I agreed to this insane dare. I'm desperately lonely but too scared to do anything about it normally. So you needed your friends to literally dare you to show up at a stranger's house in a snowstorm? When you say it like that, it sounds really unhealthy. Lucas laughed. Genuinely laughed. For the first time all evening. It's the most ridiculous and brave thing I've heard in years. They talked for hours. Lily eventually fell asleep on the couch, and Lucas covered her with a blanket. Emma learned about his wife, how she'd died suddenly from an aneurysm on Christmas morning 2 years ago, how he'd thrown himself into his company to avoid the pain, how Lily was his reason for surviving. Emma shared her own story, an engagement that ended when her fiancé admitted he'd been cheating for months. How she'd built walls so high she couldn't see over them anymore. How being dared to do something crazy had felt like permission to be brave. "This is the strangest Christmas Eve I've ever had," Lucas admitted, "and somehow the best one since Sarah died." "I showed up uninvited because of a dare," Emma said. "This shouldn't work, but it does," Lucas said softly. "Doesn't it?" It did. They exchanged numbers. Emma stayed until the snow let up, then drove home with Lucas's promise to call after Christmas. He did call and kept calling. They dated carefully, including Lily and everything, building something real from the most absurd beginning. A year later, Emma returned to the cabin, this time invited. Lucas proposed by the same fireplace where they'd first talked, with Lily holding the ring box and giggling. "Last Christmas, you showed up at my door because of a dare," Lucas said. "You were freezing and brave and exactly what Lily and I needed even though we didn't know it." "Will you marry us?" Emma cried, saying yes. Lily cheered and presented her with a hand-drawn picture labeled Our Family. At their wedding, Jenna gave a speech about the dare that changed everything. "I dared Emma to show up at Lucas's door on Christmas Eve," Jenna said. "It was a crazy idea. Send a stranger to crash my cousin's grief cabin on the saddest night of his year. But sometimes crazy ideas are exactly right. Sometimes people need someone brave enough to knock on their door. Sometimes the best love stories start with a dare." Years later, Emma and Lucas would return to the cabin every Christmas Eve. Remembering the night they met, "I thought blind dates were a joke," Lucas would say, "especially ones that started with someone showing up uninvited on my doorstep. And I thought I'd never be brave enough to risk my heart again," Emma would add. "Until my friends dared me to show up in a snowstorm for a stranger. Best dare I ever accepted. Because sometimes the craziest ideas lead to the best outcomes. Sometimes showing up uninvited is exactly the invitation someone needed. And sometimes Christmas miracles look like frozen women knocking on lonely doors. Brave enough to be ridiculous, vulnerable enough to try. If this warmed your heart, share it and subscribe for more tales about unexpected courage and the dares that change our lives. Comment about a time you did something crazy that worked out perfectly. Those moments remind us that risk and reward are often the same thing.